Nobody will understand you, bro. There's there's something I read. I think it was somewhere on Reddit. And you know, from another person, he was wondering why nobody understood, like, his intentions, and why, certain things happen, and yada yada yada. Not to dismiss what he was saying, but I just want to get to the point of explaining why. From what I figured out, I think there was a there was one Redditor that explained it thoroughly. I usually don't use Reddit like that, but when I do, I like to take note about what I know from it, and at least from what I learned. And yeah, I did learn the fact that, like, not many people understand you. Um, Basically, from what I learned, at least personally, let me just get to the point. You could have two people, right? You can have two people or three people or how many people, just more than one, right? You can have more than one person watching a movie. Let's just use that as an example. They could be watching a movie together, right? They could be sitting in the theater watching a movie together, right? Seeing the same footage, hearing the same lines of dialogue and sound effects, and just getting the same valid experience, right? And those people will all come out thinking that something completely different than what another person thought, and that person would think completely different than what a third person thought, and a fourth person thought, and maybe even a fifth person or whoever was in the theater, right? And they all experienced the same thing. So basically, um, this just shows how, when it comes between people that believe or expect someone to do a certain thing after bringing or after making the choice or action that they believe will get a certain reaction, you can't just expect that from everybody, and they can't expect that from you, because people think differently. Literally, they think differently. I know this as living proof. I think completely different than my own mother, and you know we may understand what certain words mean. We may come to an agreement on that, but the way we use them, and the way we see the world, and the way that we just understand anything in life is completely different because of what we experienced and because of how we think. And that's just what shapes each other. That's just what shapes people. It's it stems from, people say it stems from the household. Yes, that may be true, but most of it stems from personality and just how their brain works in general. And I think it really, if anything, stems from, like, at its core, stems from personal values. What a person values, you know. And when it comes to relationships, it really does matter what a person values. And if a person values, like, the way someone talks over what they say, then another person that doesn't value that and values what people say over how it's said, you know, then those people would have a miscommunication, and because of what they value, they will have a misunderstanding most of the time, and that oftentimes comes with conflict. And it's the main reason why people just won't understand you. There may be some people that will get you, that will understand where you're coming from, that will think similar to you. Maybe not in every aspect of understanding who you are until you spend time with the person. But over overall, I just think, from like a stranger standpoint, or even from someone that you spend decades with, depending on the personality, the values, and everything I just said, if they do not match, then you will not be understood the same way another person will understand you from the individual you are with. And that is just what most people need to understand. But it's also freeing, because if people do not understand you, then you don't owe anybody an explanation, because they wasn't going to understand you no matter what you did, because of how you think is so different from them, of what you value is so different from them, that it doesn't matter what you do. At the end of the day, they just aren't going to understand. And that's perfectly fine. You're free to understand yourself. You're free to find people that may understand you. You don't need to validate yourself, or, expect something like they are expecting from you, or basically what you are expecting from them. You don't need to expect anything, because at the end of the day, that whatever that is mutual. That you guys just won't understand each other, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need to, you know. There's a video that I was watching the other day that was saying it's by this guy, this YouTuber named Jaden Sama, and he was saying choose who chooses you. So choose who choose you. Don't go after people that are not choosing you, that are not willingly choosing you for who you are, or valuing who you are, and what you are, and what you bring to the table, what you provide, how you help, how you, you know, just if they don't see your value, let them lose you. And that's basically what happens when people misunderstand each other. So just if they don't understand where you're coming from, what you were trying to show or convey, I highly suggest to let them lose you. And yeah, I hope this helps someone who needed to hear this. And yeah, that is the reason why nobody will understand you. And I'm just here to tell you that is okay, and that there's oftentimes just a lack of, I guess, uh, things that happen in life. Like maybe it's the wrong place at the wrong time, or just a lot of things that factor into how this could be or play out. And yeah, it's nothing to take personal. It's just how things are, how things always have been. And it's not really about you, but it's about how the other person is themselves and how they see life. So what they expect is something different, and you are not what they expect. So they don't know how to understand what you are. And that's just how it is. So yeah, I'm gonna close this video out. I hope you guys got the memo, and have a nice day.